Hey guys! So today we're going to talk about the most prosperous country in the world. It has a rich and varied natural environment, huge energy resource reserves, and their well-thought-out usage of those resources makes the citizens there extremely provided for. Legally, any citizen or visitor has the right to freely access all the natural resources from the forest to the sea. You can walk or swim anywhere you like. Pretty much everybody there has high-speed internet access. 4 out of 5 citizens have their own boat. There's no deforestation. You're never going to see trash on the ground in the cities. There's fruit and vegetable stands along the roads with a price tag and a money jar. You just pay for as much as you take. No one's watching. Cheating and stealing are frowned upon. Gasoline is more expensive than anywhere else in the world, and the prices grow year after year. Theft or murder are events discussed nationwide, because such serious crimes are exceedingly rare here. Many people don't even lock their doors during the day. Unless you're in a big city with a lot of tourists, of course. It has the lowest statistics for repeat offenders, about 20% for ex-cons in the world. This country is number 1 in the amount of newspapers per capita in the world. There are about 500,000 various-sized lakes here. The weather changes faster than you can imagine. The locals joke, if you don't like our weather, just wait 15 minutes. People don't gather berries or mushrooms in the forest and don't know which herbs are useful. You'll almost never see beggars on the streets. Unless you're in a big city, but they will almost always be immigrants. Getting a large bank loan at 3 to 4% interest isn't really difficult at all. Everything is done for the people. You can plan your life 10 years in advance, including various expenses and career growth, and your plan will be fulfilled. Where is this, you may ask? This is Norway. It's been called the most prosperous country in the world. So experts studied 142 countries and compared their levels of economic growth, the quality of education and healthcare, and the amount of freedoms and safety. Norway is number 3 in economic growth, 5th in healthcare and education, 7th in development of government institutions, and 2nd in personal freedoms. Their total points let Norway officially be called the most prosperous country in the world for the 6th time in a row. Norway wasn't bothered by lower prices on its main cash cow, oil, or by the devaluation of the krone compared to other major world currencies. A small difference in the salary levels is another reason why Norway took first place. The difference between the highest and lowest paying jobs is significantly lower than in many other countries. There's also a high employment rate among men and women. Now, Norway is a northern country with a dry climate. It's praised for its high quality of life, how it comparatively easily handles world financial crises, its economy is stable, it's very eco-friendly, and it's moving in the right direction. It has very clean water and non-polluted air. Now, the safety standards at factories are so high that they're also considered the best in the world. So you might be asking, why is Norway so wealthy? $1 trillion is an important milestone, said Yngve Sundstad, the head of Norway's wealth fund, about the astounding sum of money that was invested in his fund. $1 trillion was the value in September 2017 of all the assets belonging to the fund. The Norwegian government adds a portion of its gas and oil sales to the fund every year. The Norwegians call it the oil fund. It's the biggest wealth fund in the world. The next biggest stable fund is in the UAE at about 15% less. There are 70 oil rigs working in the North Sea, most of them belonging to the Norway State Oil Company or to foreign holders. The drilling and pumping requires additional support that attracts almost every industry, and like the tide, it raises the rest of the country's economy. The Norwegian oil industry made the country's 5 million person population rich, but there was no guarantee at first. Oil has even damaged some countries' economies. The astronomical sum of accumulated money isn't a simple thing to deal with for the Bank of Norway's accountants. The oil fund is formally part of the bank. The main and only goal of the fund is to use the current profits from selling oil to provide financing for the future generations. There are no illusions of endless oil money in Oslo. One of the first things you'll read on the official website is, "The oil will run dry one day, but the profits will continue to help Norway's population." Considering that Norway has a population of 5.3 million people, each Norwegian currently will receive about $193,000 from the fund. And that sum was made in just 20 years. The fund has said that during the most recent financial crisis that started in 2008, the fund's assets did not decrease significantly. Meanwhile, most oil countries needed to use the money for their future generations from their own wealth funds. Today, the Norway Fund controls a huge sum of money with over 9,000 assets, bonds, and real estate properties. Additionally, their investing portfolio is open to the public, and you can look at it if you wish to. The majority of the money, about 65%, has been invested in stocks around the world. You'll find leading tech companies like Google, Amazon, and others in the portfolio. They don't hide the fact that their phenomenal sum of money is thanks to the skyrocketing prices in fund markets over the last 2 decades. The fund uses the concept of so-called ethical investing by investing money only in companies that match Oslo's criteria. The country has just over 5 million citizens, and the population is fairly sparse. The central and northern parts of the country are practically empty, and some of the islands are uninhabited. The employment rate is very high. 75% of the population has what's considered a stable job. The high economic development and excellent quality of life can be seen in the growing life expectancies of the people at about 82 years. Now, by trying to support the people's high quality of life, the Norwegian labor market is constantly increasing the amount of job vacancies and additional places for employment by opening small businesses. The country makes sure that its citizens receive a higher education and has the lowest unemployment rate in Europe. Norway is one of the leaders in oil drilling. The average gross income from the oil industry in 2019 is evaluated at $226.5 billion. Norway is a leader in oil exporting. Considering the ongoing world crisis today in the oil industry, the country is intensely developing its other industries. Other than oil and energy, Norway has shipbuilding and metallurgy, forestry, paper production, agriculture, and fishing as traditional sources of income. Additionally, the country is developing construction, science and innovation, space exploration, computer technology, and education. The average monthly salary of 4,400 euros in Norway lets Norwegians live pretty good lives. The high level of living and the good salaries attract many immigrants to come work in Norway. However, getting a job isn't so easy. The labor market in Norway is mostly closed to foreigners and is tightly controlled by the government. By supporting a high quality of life for its citizens and actively preventing the immigration wave that's overtaken Europe in recent years, Norway is one of the leaders in energy production. Hydropower plants using many local waterfalls as well as a rational use of wind and solar power let Norway constantly grow their energy exports to neighboring countries at a good price. All of these are reasons for Norway's success, stability, and prosperous economy. Now, if you're wondering why Norway so effectively manages their oil wealth, the answer is in their history. Norway has strong traditions of equality that come from the times of the Vikings, when groups of free people came together under a charismatic leader to take part in sea trade and raiding expeditions, with a fair split of the profits afterwards. Well, that's all for today. Leave us a like and let me know in the comments one thing you learned about Norway that you didn't know before. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time.